Hello everyone, Ash here, and tonight I'm doing my Sailor Moon cast. Now, before I begin, I want to let everyone know that first, this is a three-part video. First part being on more of the smaller characters, the villains, and Artemis and Luna. The second part is going to be on the Sailor Scouts. The third part is going to be on what should happen, what they should do when Toonami does get this series, which I do think they will get very soon. Now, I'm not going to do all the Sailor Moon characters. That would just take too much time. This is going to be a three-part video. If I decide to do all of them, it would turn into a five-part video, so I'm not going to do that. And finally, you are more than welcome to debate me and to tell me who you think should play what character. I'm all for that. That's not a problem. However, please don't try to insult me and say, "Oh, you're a fucking idiot for picking him. That's stupid. Blah, blah, blah. You don't know how you value time. Blah, blah, blah." If you do not pull that, people, we can have a discussion. That's fine. Just don't start with the whole childish name-calling thing. That's all I ask. Alright, let's get started. Now, this character I don't have a picture of. One of the reasons, I couldn't find it, and I don't remember his name. So, yeah. But he worked in Sailor Mars' shrine to help the grandfather. He had long hair, he was a rocker, and he was an idiot. I think you guys know who I'm talking about. Long hair, dumbass, had a crush on Mars. Well, I think the perfect voice actor for him would be Chris Sabbath. Now, the reason I picked Chris Sabbath to do this role is because of the role he did for Kuwabara in Yu Yu Hakusho. As you know, Chris Sabbath did the voice for Kuwabara, and he made Kuwabara sound like a complete and utter idiot. And that's what I think he would do with the Helper. I'm just going to call the guy who works at the shrine the Helper, because I could see him pulling out that type of voice, that type of Kuwabara voice of being a complete moron with this character. That's why I think Chris Sabbath would work well as the guy who helps in the shrine, who has long hair, who's an idiot. I really wish I had a picture to show you guys, but I think you know who I'm talking about. Alright, next up, Sailor Mars' grandfather. Now, for this character, I can only think of one voice actor who does old guys really well. Mike McFarlane. Now, reason I picked Mike McFarlane? Because he was the perfect voice for Master Roshi. Now, Mike McFarlane is the best voice actor for Master Roshi, and I think he'd be great as Sailor Mars' grandfather. I don't remember if Sailor Mars' grandfather was a dirty old man or not. I don't totally remember that, but I do think Mike McFarlane would nail that voice perfectly. Next up, Usagi's little brother. Now, Usagi's little brother is kind of a brat and does manage to piss off Usagi quite a bit. So for this role, I was thinking it should be Laura Bailey. Now, why did I choose Laura Bailey? Because she did such a good job with young Trunks. First, she did a great job as Kid Trunks. She had his little smart mouth attitude perfectly. I think she would fit Usagi's little brother so nicely. I could see that same voice she did for Trunks with that kid. Tweak it up a bit, but I think it would be perfect. Alright, we got the minor characters out of the way that I picked. Now it's time for the villains, starting with Wise Man. Now, Wise Man has a very dark, deep voice, very evil, and I think the perfect voice actor for him would be Paul Dobson. Now, Paul Dobson would be perfect for Wise Man. The big reason is the voice he did for the Oceanda version of Dragon Ball Z's Dr. Willow. He played Dr. Willow perfectly. He had a great, deep, evil voice that fit the character so well. Oh my god. He was the best Dr. Willow. Funnimation's was pretty good, but his was the best, and I think he would bring that deep, dark, evil voice to Wiseman. I think he would. I think he'd be perfect for Wiseman. Our next villain, Dr. Tomoe. Now, Dr. Tomoe is a mad scientist, but there's only one voice actor who can do a mad scientist perfectly. Chuck Huber. Chuck Huber has done many roles. He did Frankenstein in Soul Eater, which he did a great job in that, but his best role was Hiei in Yu Yu Hakusho. Chuck Huber would do an amazing job as Dr. Toho. He did a great job as Hiei, and he's always got that great evil villain voice. His voice is made to play villains, and he'd be perfect for that role as Dr. Tomoe. Next, we have Jedi, but before I get into him, I have a feeling this could spark some people not liking this pick, but I feel he'd be perfect as Jedi. The voice actor that I think would fit Jedi the best is Johnny Young Bosch. This is the type of role that I think would fit Johnny Young Bosch very well. He is a good voice actor, and he did a great job in Code Geass as Lelouch. I think he'd do a great job with Jedi's personality. He'd bring that type of really emotional but well-balanced character, and it would fit very nicely with Jedi. I think he'd be the perfect choice to play Jedi. On to Nephrite. Nephrite was a stronger, tougher character in the anime, and I think the voice actor that should do him is Justin Cooke. Justin Cooke does a good job with those stronger, more ready to fight characters. He did a great job as Yusuke in Yu Yu Hakusho. He also played Radix in Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Z Kai, and he does a great job with those really kind of tough, ready to fight characters. I think he'd do a great job with Nephrite. Next up, Zoisite. First, Zoisite is a guy, not a girl. Thank you, Deke, for fucking that one up. And the perfect voice actor to play Zoisite is simple. Vic Mignogna. Vic Mignogna would do an amazing job with Zoisite, being that feminine character. He'd really pull that off perfectly. One of his best roles was Ed Elric from Fullmetal Alchemist. Vic Mignogna did a great job as Ed, but I think he'd do an amazing job as Zoisite. He'd be the perfect voice actor to fit Zoisite's personality without hesitation. Kenzite is next. Kenzite is the leader of the 4 generals for Queen Beryl. He's very strong and very powerful. One voice actor comes to mind who does a strong, powerful character very well. Chris Sabat. Now for Chris Sabat, I don't want to see him bring the Vegeta type personality, but more of a Piccolo type personality to Kenzite. Now he's done similar roles using that Piccolo type voice he did for Dragon Ball Z. I think if he brought that voice to Kenzite, changed it up a little bit here and there, I think he'd be perfect to play him. I think that would be the voice that would fit Kenzite the best. Next up, Queen Beryl. Now Queen Beryl is a very dark, evil villain, and I think the perfect voice actor for her would be Colleen Collins. Now Colleen is an amazing voice actress. She has a great voice, and she played Gohan in Dragon Ball Kai. She also did Yoko Ichikara from Holic. Now, I did have someone else in mind to do Queen Beryl, but when I heard Collins' voice for Yoko Ichikara, that was the perfect voice for Queen Beryl. It would fit her perfectly. Now, for Artemis, this was a hard one because I really had a hard time finding a perfect voice actor for him. But then this one voice actor came to mind. He's an amazing voice actor, first and foremost. And I think he'd do a great job as Artemis. I think he'd fit Artemis's personality really well. Some people may not like this pick, but I think he'd be perfect. Steve Blum. Steve Blum is an amazing voice actor. Every role he does a great job with. And his best role was Spike from Cowboy Bebop. Now, Artemis is not a mellowed out type character, but he does teach the sailor soldiers. He does teach them and he does help them. And I think Steve Blum would really do a great job being that type of teacher, helping the sailor soldiers. I think he'd do a great job as Artemis, just really with that type of character. I think he'd fit Artemis' personality the best. Now, on to Luna. I'm going to give Deke some credit. They did a good job with Luna's voice. I think that voice fit Luna very nicely, and I want something similar to that voice. So I was thinking they could use Kathleen Kartz. I really hope I got that name right. Now, the voice I would like to see her bring would be her Botan voice from Yu Yu Hakusho. Now, I loved her Botan voice. I thought that was a great voice. And I think if she brought that type of voice to Luna, it would work really well. Because, like I said before, the only voice I really liked in the Deke version of Sailor Moon was Luna's voice. But I think the voice actor for Botan would do a much better job. So I think she should do Luna's voice. And this is the end of part 1 for the Sailor Moon cast. Stay tuned for part 2.